Welcome back to the channel, friends. Today I want to talk to you about Nexo. And I made a number of videos about Nexo in the past, as this has been my favorite crypto exchange for a long time and still is to this day, even though the fact that I now really took self-custody of my cryptocurrency. However, there has been some great news about Nexo, and I thought it would be a good time to make a video about it because a lot of you have been asking me about this. And the news is that Nexo actually re-entered the US market. Now, in the past, they used to be available in the US. However, back then, US really clamped down on a lot of regulations, especially around cryptocurrency exchanges. And unfortunately, Nexo was one of the players that had to move out. So it's even nicer to see them now re-entering the US, which is obviously really good to see, as it is a huge market, right? Arguably one of the biggest one in the world. So I guess it could only be a good thing for Nexo, especially since the US will also bring a lot of inflows of revenue and deposits into the platform. More trading and more deposits means more revenue for Nexo. And well, one of the big reasons why they were able to re-enter was, of course, the turn in policies and the more positive and friendly approach of the current US administration towards cryptocurrency. You can see over here the Nexo founder, Anthony Trenchev, meeting Donald Trump Jr., who really came together to make the deal. And obviously, that's good to see, right? If you're a Nexo user or you have some Nexo token, that is great news because now all of a sudden their deposits, which are currently an impressive $11 billion, most likely are going to increase going forward. Imagine if all those US customers will have access to Nexo, they will start plowing quite a bit of their funds in there, despite the slight risk, but the interests are really some of the highest. Even in the US, when you look at Coinbase and other exchanges, nobody really pays such a high interest as Nexo. I mean, you can see here the interest rates you can currently get. Imagine you're on the highest level, which is platinum, which basically means that 10% or above of your portfolio are kept in Nexo token. Well, then you could earn 4% on your Bitcoin, even 5% if you locked it up for at least 1 month. And if you earned a Nexo token, it could go all the way to 7%. So that's really quite impressive, right? And a lot of other cryptocurrencies over here as well. In USDC, 10%. So especially for Americans who already hold dollars, right? You just convert it to USDC 1-to-1, and you could earn easily 10% flexible without any lockup period. So almost like a bank, if you need the money, you just convert it 1-to-1 to dollars, you withdraw it, and you have it readily available to spend. So I think that could be really appealing to a lot of US clients. Of course, in the meantime, all the other clients who could be using Nexo from the UK, EU, they definitely have been benefiting from that in the past. And so have I. You can see over here, total interest I earned with the platform is over $3,000. So really not too shabby. But right now you can see my portfolio balance definitely came down quite a bit. I only have $4,000 left. I used to have over $70,000 sitting in here. But as I said in previous videos, I decided to take self-custody of my cryptocurrency. And right now I'm only left with Nexo token in here, which is around $4,000. As you can see, I still have one active term left over here where I earn 12% interest. So once this is up in November, I will most likely convert that to Bitcoin and then withdraw it as well. But talking about Nexo token, obviously the Nexo platform and Nexo token, they're very much linked, right? If there's good news for the platform, the token will do well and vice versa. And you can see how that piece of news very positively impacted the price of Nexo. Well, first off, now it's the 79th biggest coin in the world, which is really impressive. I remember back then it was like 150 or something. So they've been really climbing the ranks, which is good to see, and has done so for quite a while, which makes it more sustainable than some of the other meme coins that come and go, right? So they've been around for quite a while. The market cap just shy of 1 billion. And yeah, overall price development definitely really good. You can see over a 1 month period up 35% almost, which comes at the back of the news, which was released end of April. You can see the price jump. It went on the same day from $1.10 all the way to $1.20. So you can see how positive news or negative news around the Nexo platform directly impact the price of Nexo. And of course, they also shared it on the X account where they're quite active. You see here, they have a separate account for Nexo and Nexo UK. So if you're from the UK, you might have some different regulations over there. But yeah, they're very proud of the fact that they're back in the US. Also, the CEO, Anthony Trenchev, very active and really appears on a lot of TVs. You can see he's constantly on CNBC, Bloomberg. I see him all the time, which is good, right? He really is the face of the company. He's out there. You don't want to have a CEO who hides himself behind a corporate facade. He's really out there, and I like that. Now, does it mean that they're back in the US, they're totally safe to invest into? And I think it's not as simple as that. Now, on the one hand side, as I said, it is really good. It will bring additional deposits and probably will be good for the company at large. They will have higher revenue. So it makes operations more sustainable and profitable long-term, which can only be a good thing. On the other hand, though, just the fact that you enter a new market or re-enter an old market that you're previously in does not inherently reduce the risk that a crypto exchange has. Because ultimately, the fundamental risk is still there, right? There is no fund protection like we have with banks or stockbrokers, where they protect your funds up to a certain amount. In the worst case, if the broker goes bust, you can transfer them to another broker. Here you have various risks, right? You have the financial risk of the platform itself being solvent, right? You hope that they're solvent long term. And well, we've seen even in the past with exchanges like FTX, who were very much present in the US, going bust. Then of course you're completely handing over your keys basically to your crypto to the exchange, right? So they're in full control. So we assume and hope for the best that they have the best intent with that access and the way they manage our cryptocurrency. So that's also something to keep in mind. However, overall, when I look at the exchange versus many other exchanges who are registered in Seychelles or some remote islands, honestly, if I had to pick one and keep my funds there, right now, I would definitely still go with Nexo. In terms of risk, sure, they have the same risk like everybody else, but it is definitely coming down that they're entering bigger, newer markets and really doing well financially, it seems. That is reassuring. Plus, of course, I also get higher rewards because if I already take the risk of using a crypto exchange, well, then I want to at least maximize my rewards. I mean, recently I spoke about, P2P lending platforms such as Bondora, where you do get a slightly higher interest than at the bank. So it's up to you. Is that risk worth the interest rate? There, for example, it was 6%, while you also don't have income protection. Here we talk about a crypto exchange where you can earn, let's say, 10%, even Europe, right? You could exchange your euros to USDC and start earning 10% interest. So definitely more rewarding for the incremental risk that you're taking. So that's something each of you has to answer for themselves how much risk they're comfortable with. For some people, they have no fear of any risks and they go all in. That's the same people who also end up buying meme coins or meme stocks, and that's totally fine, right? There's a market for that. While others, they don't even touch cryptocurrency. Bitcoin alone is too risky for them, and that's totally fine as well. For them, you might better be off owning some ETFs or even physical gold, right? And as I always say, there is no one way to invest. It has to work for you. I'm still a big fan of diversifying. So even if I had some funds sitting on Nexo, which again, I might do in the future to earn some interest, I would not put all my money in there. I would always have some of the funds on my crypto exchange, on a hardware wallet like Ledger or Tangem, which I'm using myself right now, just to spread the risk, right? The same way how I use different brokers as well as different banks. I would never go all in on one single platform. It's something I can really recommend. Unless you're just starting off and you have, 100, 500, 1,000 euros, then probably splitting 1,000 euros across 4 different platforms doesn't really make sense. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy to see Nexo continuing to evolve, move forward, re-enter previous markets, explore new markets, hopefully also coming to the UAE very soon. If you're watching this Nexo, a lot of people who live here in the UAE ask me how they can sign up to Nexo. So I think there's a huge market. Hopefully we'll see you guys over here soon. And hopefully also some more product offerings, right? Because we see some traditional stockbrokers like Robinhood and Revolut and others moving from traditional banking and stocks now into crypto. So I think it would be really cool if Nexo one day, I don't know if that's on the roadmap or not, starts adding other services like banking, like stocks to compete with those other players. That way, even more people might be excited to try out the platform. And I think that's the future of finance, where we're moving to really have super apps, right? Not to have a single app and provider for all different services. But finance in the future and investing really goes to multiple asset classes because more and more people want to be diversified. You want to own some ETFs, you want to have some stocks, you want to have some crypto, maybe some commodities, maybe some gold, right? Digital art, NFTs, whatever it is. And you don't want to have 20 different apps for that. So I think there is going to be a future where we're going to see some super players emerging. Robinhood is really trying to do that, but I think there's space for other players. I could definitely see Nexo being one of them in the future, but who knows? We'll see. But definitely excited to follow the journey of Nexo. And if you want to check out Nexo for yourself, then use my link down in the description below and you'll be getting $35 worth of Bitcoin if you sign up to Nexo with my link. Well, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Helps out a lot. Next up, check out this video right here. As always, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.